I'm 78 years old, and the hardest lesson of my life came too late to thank the people who taught it to me. I'm sitting alone at my kitchen table tonight, the same table where I once rushed through dinners, checking my watch, barely listening. The house is quiet now, too quiet. For most of my life, I thought I was smarter than my parents, faster, more modern, more ambitious. I thought their advice belonged to a different world. I was wrong, and it took nearly 8 decades, and more loss than I care to admit, to finally understand what they were trying to give me. The past. Before I thought I knew better, I grew up in a small, creaky house with peeling paint and a front porch that sagged in the middle. Summers smelled like cut grass and motor oil. Winters smelled like boiled coffee and damp wool coats drying by the heater. My father woke up at 5 every morning. Same routine. Coffee, toast, kiss on my mother's cheek. Then out the door. My mother hummed while she cooked. Always the same tune. I never knew where it came from. They weren't wealthy. Not even close. But there was always food on the table. And more importantly, there was always time. Time to talk. Time to sit. Time to listen. I didn't value that then. I was young, restless, certain I was destined for something bigger than that sagging porch and those quiet evenings. I remember my father once sitting across from me, hands wrapped around his mug, steam fogging his glasses. He said, "Son, don't spend your life chasing applause. It fades." I smiled, politely. Inside I thought, you just don't get it. My mother was gentler. She'd say things like, "Call people while you still can," or "Success is who shows up when you're tired." I nodded. I always nodded. Then I left. By the time I was 25, I was already moving faster than them. New job, new city, new ambitions. I called home on holidays. Sometimes. When my mother asked if I was eating well, I laughed it off. When my father warned me not to work myself into a stranger, I rolled my eyes. I thought love was automatic, permanent, something that would wait for me. I was wrong. The turning point. The choice. I justified it was 1985. I remember because the office smelled like burnt coffee and new carpet. I'd just been offered a promotion. Bigger title, better pay, longer hours. That same week, my mother called. Her voice sounded thinner, like it was traveling a long way to reach me. She said, "Your father's been tired lately. Maybe you could visit." I looked at the calendar on my desk. Meetings circled in red ink, deadlines stacked like bricks. I said, "Soon, after things slow down." After I hung up, I told myself I was being responsible, providing, building something. Isn't that what a good son does? A month later, my father ended up in the hospital. I visited once. Sat by his bed in my suit, the smell of antiseptic burning my nose. He smiled when he saw me, that same quiet smile. He said, "You don't have to stay long." I didn't. When I left, I told myself there would be more time. There always is, until there isn't. The consequences. When silence teaches you. My father passed away the following spring. I was 38 years old. At the funeral, my mother held my hand tighter than she ever had before. Her fingers were cold. She whispered, "He was proud of you." That sentence has haunted me ever since. Years went by, more promotions, bigger house, marriage, a son of my own. I became the man I once admired, busy, distracted, always promising, later. My mother aged quietly. I noticed it in photos, her hair thinner, her smile smaller. She never complained, never guilted me. She just kept asking, "Are you happy?" When she died, I found a box in her closet. Letters she never sent, notes about ordinary days. One said, "I hope he knows we loved him enough to let him go." I sat on the floor and cried like a child, not because she was gone, but because I finally understood what I had missed while I was busy becoming someone impressive to strangers. The wisdom, what I see clearly now. I'm 78 now. My hands shake when I pour coffee. The mornings are slower, quieter. I think about my parents every day, They weren't trying to hold me back. They were trying to hold me close. They knew something I didn't, that life doesn't measure you by speed or status. It measures you by presence, by who you show up for, by who feels safe calling you when they're tired or afraid. I thought I was building a future. What I was really doing was postponing love. If my parents were sitting at this table with me now, I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't rush. I'd listen. Because now I know. The lessons that matter whisper. They don't shout. And once the voices are gone, the silence is very loud. If you're listening to this and thinking of someone you've been meaning to call, don't wait. Time doesn't announce when it's about to leave. I can't go back. But you still can. If this story stayed with you, pass it on. Someone you love might still be waiting.